Hi everyone, welcome to my channel English with Prasad. Today we are going to see a simple and important topic in English grammar. This is an important topic for academics as well as competitive exams. Now let us see, the topic is voice. So you might have heard voice. So voice is of two types, depends upon the subject and its action in a sentence. The voice has been divided into two types, that is one is active voice, the other one is passive voice. So how can you say a sentence is in active voice or a sentence is in passive voice? Let us see that with a simple example. She wrote a letter. So let us see one example. The example sentence is she wrote a letter. Okay, let us divide this sentence into parts. So see one example sentence. So the sentence is she wrote a letter. Let us name the parts of this sentence. The first one is she, which is nothing but the subject here, and the second one is wrote. This is, you know that this is the verb, right? Verb, it is in first form. Sorry, this is in second form, past tense, right? A letter, this is nothing but the object, right? So the first one, she, is nothing but the subject. Second word is verb, that is in past tense, wrote, and the third one is object. Now let us see which is active, whether it is the subject or the object. Who is doing work here? The subject, she, is doing the work. What is that? Writing a letter, right? So whereas this is doing some action, the subject is doing some action, so that is why we say this sentence is in active voice, right? Whereas this, look at this object is letter here. It was done, that means it was written by the subject. So letter is nothing but the object, which is passive, whereas the subject is she, which is active. That is why we call this sentence, or we say that this sentence is in active voice. We have seen that the example is she wrote a letter, right? Here we have already discussed that she is the subject and wrote is the verb, which is in past tense, and a letter is object. So here the subject, which is nothing but she, is writing a letter. So she is active here. That means the subject is active here, and object is not doing any action, but it is getting the result. That is the reason we say that this sentence is in active voice. Now let us try to change it into the passive voice, whereas passive voice will be like this: a letter was written. A letter was written by her. A letter was written by her. So here let us name the parts again. Here a letter is subject here, and it is nothing but the was is nothing but the helping verb, and written is third form of the verb, right? So by is nothing but the preposition, and here her is the object. Okay, so in the subject place, here we have a letter, and here the subject is not doing any action, but it is getting the result of the action. So that is the reason, as it is not doing any work, as it is not active, as it is only getting the result, we say that this sentence is in passive voice. So here the subject is she, it is doing some work, that is the writing a letter. So as the subject is active, we say this sentence is in active voice, and whereas here as the subject is getting the result, we say that this sentence is in passive voice. Let us see the steps how we have changed a sentence from active voice to passive voice. Here in the passive voice, the first step is a letter, which is nothing but the object in the active voice. So the first step is, step 1 is object in the active voice. Object in the active voice becomes the subject. Subject in the passive voice. The second step is here helping verb. We have written was here, which is nothing but the helping verb. Appropriate helping verb should be written. So coming to the third step here, third step is nothing but the verb, which is in the V3 form. So whatever the verb is given in active voice, the third form of that verb should be written in the passive voice. So third form of the verb V3 should be written in passive voice. The fourth step is, here we have taken preposition by. So preposition, here the by is taken, preposition by is taken here. So the meaning and the of this preposition is, it shows the doer of the action. It shows the doer of the action, or nothing but the agent who is doing work here. So here she is the agent here, that is why we have written by, which shows the doer of the action or the agent. The final step is the subject in the active voice becomes object in the passive voice. She has written as her in passive voice. The last step is subject in active voice became object in passive voice. So friends, these are the steps we follow while changing a sentence from active voice to passive voice. Now let us see how to change a sentence from active voice to passive voice. See, this is nothing but the subject here, which is verb V2, and here this is nothing but the object. So as the subject is the doer of the action, as it is the subject is working here, right? The subject is what? Working. Hence we say that this sentence is in active voice. Now let us see how to change a sentence from active voice to passive voice. This will be like this after changing a sentence from active voice to passive voice. A letter was written by her. So this will be the passive voice for the given sentence. She wrote a letter. Now let us see how it is a passive voice. Here in the subject place, letter is there in the subject place, and here the letter was written, but here it is not doing any work, but whereas it is, the subject is getting the result, right? So instead of doing an activity, here the subject is getting the result. If the subject is getting the result being written, and whereas here the subject is working or doing the action. So that is the reason it is said to be in active voice. As it is getting the result, it is said to be in passive voice. Now let us see the steps. Which steps we follow while changing a sentence from active voice to passive voice. The first step is, this is the first step. Here the object in the active voice became the subject in the passive voice. That is the first step. And the second step is nothing but the was, which is the second step. It is the helping verb. Right. So whereas the third step is the verb V3 is written here. Here the road is given, which is V2, which is past tense. But whereas here the perfect tense is used. That is, third form of the verb V3 is used in the passive voice. And the fourth step is preposition. Preposition by is used, which denotes the doer of the action. Right. So the final step is, fifth step is, the subject in the active voice became the object in the passive voice. So once again let us revise the steps. First step is subject, object in the active voice became the subject in the passive voice. Whereas the second step is helping verb, which is nothing but was here. And the third step is third form of the verb, which is nothing but the written. Right? Whereas here the fourth step is appropriate preposition has to be taken. Here the by is used here, which denotes the doer of the action or the agent of the action. So fourth step is preposition, and the final step is the subject in the active voice becomes the object in the passive voice. Here the subject in the given sentence is nothing but the she, which became her in the passive voice. So friends, these are the steps which we follow while we change a sentence from active voice to passive voice. This is this is nothing but the introduction about the active voice and passive voice, friends. In the next video, let us see what kind of prepositions are used and what kind of helping verbs are used with more examples. Thank you.